All right, 617-830-4750. We're going to go to someone who's been holding on for a long time. Our caller from 716 has been on hold for a while, so I predict that their question must be really, really good. 716 caller, what's your name, where are you calling from, and what can I answer for you today?
My name is Brendan. I'm calling from New York.
Great.
And I was wondering, who do you think has caused more significant damage during their first days in office, their first 100 days? Bush or Trump?
Oh, that's really tough to say because if we think legislatively, Bush got way more done during his first 100 days than did Donald Trump. Significant legislation that George W. Bush got done during his first 100 days. And if he hadn't passed his tax plan in the first 100 days, it had at least been fully formed already. And so I think from an actual legislative standpoint, it was George W. Bush who accomplished more during his first 100 days, mostly things that were a disaster. On the other hand, Donald Trump during his first 100 days has been a far bigger embarrassment than was George W. Bush. And we're going to do a story soon about just the way that Donald Trump is being perceived around the world and how the United States is quite literally becoming the laughingstock of the developed and developing world. So while a lot of Donald Trump's executive orders, for example, have been more symbolic than anything else, I think that it's a sort of practicality versus optics question. Do you have a strong feeling on this, Pat? I mean, it's really a well-framed question. Who did more damage?
I mean, it's just hard to pinpoint what he actually did in his first 100 days because George Bush's presidency was so long ago.
Yeah.
And, you can kind of get it confused with the rest of his presidency, whereas Trump, we're still early on into it.
I think here's how I would answer it, Brendan. I would say that in his first 100 days, George W. Bush did more irreversible damage via legislation, but that Donald Trump did more sort of PR and reputational damage. And again, we're out of the first 100 days now. I mean, what's your sense of it, Brendan? Am I at all on point here?
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. But I definitely think, because Trump, didn't he sign a bill that got like a 7% approval rating or something like that?
Well, I mean, I don't know about 7% approval, but certainly the latest version of the American Health Care Act has 17% approval.
So it looks like George Bush proposed the No Child Left Behind education reform, and he also started working on that $1+ trillion tax cut that used Bill Clinton's stimulus money to fund. So that certainly was a disaster, and that's kind of hard to compete with.
He worked on it during the first 100 days, but was it passed? And again, we'd have to go back to the exact timeline. All right, Brendan, thanks so much. Very, very good question. Well put. Very much appreciated. It was worth holding on for that long.